Linux is an operating system. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Apurv Gupta and in this video I am going to tell you about what is Linux. In this video I will be talking about Linux, its definition and sharing with you its history and who created Linux. So if you are new to this channel, first hit subscribe button, give thumbs up for YouTube algorithm, share this video with your friends and comment below if you have any doubt regarding this video and I will be very happy to answer them. So with this, let's get started. Linux is an operating system. Well, you have heard about this statement from many people and have also seen this in many articles. They are not incorrect, but Linux is not an operating system. Well, you may be thinking that I am trying to confuse you. On one hand, I am saying that they are not incorrect and on the other, Linux is not an operating system. Then what is Linux? Well, Linux is a kernel. Before telling you more about Linux, I want to tell you about what is an OS and what is kernel. In this video, I will tell you only just about OS and kernel. I will make a separate video in which I will be talking in detail about OS and kernel. Operating system or OS is a software that manages all your hardware associated with your computer. In simple words, operating system is something that manages all the communication between your software and hardware. Without it, the software would not function. Let me explain you through an example. Think about OS like a car engine. A car engine can run on its own, but it became functional when it is connected with wheels, axles and other parts. Similarly, without the car engine running properly, the rest of the car won't work. Whereas kernel is the lowest level or base component of the OS. Without it, the OS does not work. This is the one piece of that whole that is called Linux. The kernel is the core of the system and manages CPU, memory and process and peripheral devices. So coming back to the Linux, Linux is an open source Unix-like operating system which is based on Linux kernel. Just like Windows, iOS and macOS, Linux is also an operating system. In fact, it is one of the most popular platform on the planet. अभी मैं Linux को operating system कह रहा हूँ, but मैं पूरी बात वीडियो में आगे बताऊंगा. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are using Linux in day-to-day life. If your phone OS is Android, then you may be shocked to know that Android is powered by Linux. In fact, Linux is so popular that it is everywhere. It is in your cars, smartphones, refrigerators, thermostats, and television. It almost runs most of the internet. All of the world top supercomputers and world stock exchange use Linux. So from smartphones to supercomputers, home desktop to enterprise servers, Linux is everywhere. I want to unfold one thing about Linux, which is Linux kernel plus GNU is called Linux OS. GNU is an extensive collection of free software. It can be used in parts with other operating systems. So Linux kernel, which combined with GNU, result in Linux operating system. I hope now you understand what is the difference between kernel and operating system. Why Linux is called as kernel and when to call it as operating system. ये बात उस तरह से है जैसे कि आप शॉप पे जाते हैं और कहते हैं भैया सर्फ दे दो, पर होता तो डिटर्जेंट है ना. Similarly, Linux becomes so popular that Linux is called as OS. Let me share some history of Linux and about the person or brain behind it. In 1964, at Bell Laboratories, some people started a project of making an OS. Their main aim was to make an OS which is multitasking and multi-user. After working for some years, in 1969, they withdrew from the project. Among the people who are working in the project, Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie, these two people started the project again from scratch, and after some time, they created an OS named Unix, which they made open source and free. Dennis Ritchie was the same person who created C programming language. कुछ टाइम के बाद जब यूनिक्स में डेवलपमेंट हुई और नए वर्जन आए, जितनी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज थी, यूनिक्स का सोर्स कोड लेके उन्होंने अपने वर्जन OS बना दिए और उनको पेड कर दिया और वो एक्सपेंसिव भी काफ़ी थी. Linus Torvalds, who was studying in University of Helsinki, have to make a project on operating system. But all the big tech companies at that time have made their OS paid and which is quite expensive, due to which he was unable to use that operating systems. At that time, there was a computer science professor, Andrew Tanenbaum, who created an OS named Minix in 1987 for the students or the people who are interested in OS, and he made that operating system free and open source, which means that complete source code of Minix was freely available. Linux became curious about operating system, but at the same time he was frustrated about the licensing of Minix, which at that time was limited to education use only. So he started to work on his own OS, which eventually became Linux kernel. So Linus Torvalds created Linux in 1991, and he is the person who created Linux, or the brain behind it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it. If you have any doubt regarding this video, you can write in the comment section. So see ya, I will see you in the next one.